You know what time it is. Yes, man, I'm super excited today because I love to see people win. This is Elite Performance with Dr. Brad, the show where high achieving men come to learn the faith-based peak performance strategies to succeed in their work and win in life. If you have never been on this show, be prepared to be inspired and well informed so that your life can be transformed. I'm your host, Dr. Brad, and I'm a faith-based performance coach for men. And I help high achieving men succeed in their career without neglecting their fulfillment by applying peak performance faith-based strategies of habits into their life and into their work. And so, again, if this is your first time watching us, welcome. I'm going to give you the opportunity to like and share this information. I'm a firm believer that you will be blessed if this is the first time watching it, and you do not want to just hold this blessing. You want to share it with somebody else who you believe fits that description of a high achieving man. If you're still watching, you're high achieving. Okay. If you were like, man, I'm not a high achieving man, you're probably not watching. This ain't for everybody. This is for the person who's trying to get it. And I'm motivated to make sure that you do and do everything in my power, at least within the next hour, to help you get to the next level and move the needle in your life. And so this show provides the perfect combination of both peak performance and faith-based strategies for men to do three things: to prioritize your faith, to maximize your performance in both your work and your life, and gain clarity on your purpose. Now, here is what you can expect if you watch this show, and if you watch this every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Here's what you can expect. You can expect passion. You can expect being real and authentic. And you can expect great information. However, I always make a deal with you whenever I get on this live, is that I don't come on just to hear myself speak. I come for your transformation. I come with a vested interest in you, because there is a formula I always like to use, which is this: it is information plus application equals transformation. But in order for this to work, in order for that transformation for you to work, guess what parts you have to do? You have to do the application. I'm going to give you great information. We got another fantastic guest. This is actually the first time I've had somebody on here for the second time, right? So he was one of the first people whenever I started this show back when COVID first started. We're going to get into his story here in a little bit because he's got some phenomenal things happen. Like I said, I just love to see people win. But I'm going to give you great information. He's going to give you fantastic information, but it's going to be up to you for the application piece. So I'm going to ask you for an agreement that if I do the information, you do the application so that there can be transformation and we all win. Deal? Deal. All right. If you're watching this on replay, just write deal. If you're watching this right now, just put deal, Dr. Brad. Let's get it. So listen, before we get into the interview, I have to speak about something massive that is going on right now. If you've been following either me on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe even some of the live streams that I've done on YouTube already of some of the shows in the past, there is a massive summit that is happening right now. It started on December 1st, is going through December 21st. It is called the Elite Men Summit. Let me just tell you, if you are at a place, I had a conversation with a friend of mine today, and he was just telling me, he was like, B, like, I'm not showing up like I know I can. Very successful realtor. He was just like, there's something missing. Like, I'm just not showing up. I'm not doing what I know I can. And see, here's the deal. A lot of us are winning. By most people's standards, like by most of the world's standards, we're winning. But there's something when you look in the mirror and you know you're not showing up like you know you can, right? Like an honest look in the mirror, like an honest straight up gaze in the mirror, like one of them gazes where you don't even blink. Just look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this question: am I showing up the way I know I can? Dude, I'm scaring myself looking into the camera asking this, because the reality is many of us aren't. And I've been there. I know what it's like, right? But here's the deal. Through the grace of God and some phenomenal men in my life, I've learned some great strategies on how to perform at a high level in multiple areas of life. Okay. And so what I've done is I've gathered 21 phenomenal high performing men who are succeeding in what they do for their career, but also very fulfilled. That's the life that we all want to have. We want to succeed at a high level, but also be genuinely fulfilled. Not that Facebook fulfillment. Not that Facebook fulfillment, not that, oh, I'm going to take a picture on the beach just to let you know where I'm at and you think I'm fulfilled. No, I'm talking about genuine fulfillment. That fulfillment where I ain't even got to get on Facebook to show people I'm fulfilled. Let's talk real. Let's be real, right? I'm talking about that kind of fulfillment. So if you want to live that kind of life, I put together a summit, 21 days, interviewing someone different every single day, and it gets dropped into your email. A new interview every single day from a high performer, CEO, business owner. I'm talking about, president of media sales for BET, CEOs of boutique, companies that rival financial companies. I mean, entrepreneurs, business owners, multimillionaires, pastors, coaches. And I'm interviewing these guys and they're giving their best to share with you, how do you live this life that many of us think is not possible, of really just crushing it in multiple areas of life and being successful, but also being fulfilled. The registration is free and it's got to be at least $1,000 worth of, people think I'm playing when I'm saying this. It's literally about $1,000 worth of value between the book chapters they're giving away. My man Anthony Eisenman gave away a entrepreneur membership, people giving away gifts, strategies, tips, tools, all kind of stuff. And today, I believe we're in day 8. Today's day 8, I think. And if you register now, even if you miss the first 7 days, you will still get access to those 7 days, because I don't want you to have any excuse of why you didn't win or didn't have somebody that you may have related to in any of these interviews. And so here's what I'm hearing every single day. I literally get a text or a message on Instagram or Facebook or an email every single day from somebody who's watching this, who's saying, dude, I'm so grateful that I registered for this summit because this is blessing my life. Somebody literally the other day hit me up and he was like, can I just talk to you for 5 minutes? I was like, yeah, what's up? He's like, dude, this is absolutely blessing my life. And he had a breakthrough moment there that he really needed to be able to help him in his business and his marriage. This is moving the lives of men. And let me tell you, everybody is talking bad about 2020, and I get it. And people are trying to, people want to rush to or kind of cruise into 2021. Now is the time. Let me tell you, now is the time for preparation. You don't start preparing for 2021 at 2021. You start preparing for 2021 at the end of 2020. This is your preparation tool. This is my Christmas gift right now from me to you. Early Christmas. Register for free. But it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you some time. It's going to cost you some effort to watch it. It's going to cost you. But here's the deal. This is an investment of time so that you can get who you want to be on the other side of this. My goodness. This is an investment of time for you. Okay? To get to be the person that when you look in the mirror, you're like, dude, I'm showing up like I'm supposed to be showing up, and to be the best husband, father, business owner, man of faith, healthy person, wealthy person, and to learn the tricks of the trade to be able to do that. They talk about secrets. I mean, it's not a secret, but we're going to share with you all the stuff that you need that might be missing, that is probably missing from you to be able to live life at a high level. So I encourage you again, free registration, elitemensummit.com. You'll be able to go there. And look, I'll put a personal guarantee on it. I'll put a personal guarantee. If you watch or listen, and by the way, you can watch or listen at any time. You don't have to, it's not a specific time that you have to watch the summit. The interviews are pre-recorded. You can watch anytime you want, or you can download the audio and listen to it whenever you're working out or driving or whatever. And I will tell you this, if you watch all 21 and your life has not changed, I'll give you a book for free. I'll give you 3 books for free. I'll give you something for free, because I can guarantee that if you watch all 21, there is no way that your life will not be massively changed. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Hit me up. Be like, I watched all 21 and my life ain't changed. You got, you know what? I'll send you a case of books. I'll send you something. We'll agree on something. All right. So again, free registration at elitemensummit.com. I simply want to see you win. It is winning season. And speaking of winning season, oh man, I'm telling you, man, I love to see people put in work. I love to see people have faith and move toward their hopes and dreams. I know this brother who's coming on, man, he's been working on this for a while. He had a vision a few years ago. I was blessed to be a part of that vision to help this come to fruition. Great friend of mine. His name is Branden Weber. Just a brilliant dude. Just a brilliant guy. One of the more creative people that I know. He owns Alpha Insurance Agency, which is a boutique style insurance agency that takes care of the top 2% of working professionals. He serves athletes. He serves Olympic athletes. He serves, high level professionals, entertainers, just all kind of walks of life. What's up, Damien? I see you, man. I see you. And so he's got a phenomenal, very successful niche type insurance business. But in addition to that, he's got a heart of gold, and he is the founder of 1124 Creative, which created this new game, HBCUopoly. Now, he is a graduate of the Xavier University. Matter of fact, he personally gave me an honorary diploma for Xavier because I spent so much time with him and so many other Xavier graduates. I just said, you know what, man, I need an honorary Xavier diploma. But anyway, we joke about that. But he graduated from Xavier, and he's just a consummate professional, got a heart of gold, extremely successful. But this is something that is truly fulfilling for him. He had a vision of being able to create this game. And here's the deal. It's not a game, because this is not only helping to bring funds to the HBCU schools, but this is also helping to create generational wealth for the people who play it, helping to establish generational wealth principles. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it because I want him to explain it. But without further ado, my good friend and honored to be a friend of his, Mr. Branden Weber. Let's go.
Dr. Brad, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, I had to look around like, you talking about me in the interview, in the intro, but I'll say this before you even get started. If you have not checked out the summit, do yourself a favor. I'll be honest and fully transparent. I'm on day 4 because I keep watching the previous days. So although it's day 8, I'm on day 4. And every time I watch them, I get something new. So men out there, and I'm not just saying that because we're on split screen. We talk often enough to where, you know, he knows it comes from a real place, but I'm so serious. If you have not, it's free. You're not going to be able to have access to these level of individuals who are winning at life, but will share their own stories in a way that will compel you to do something. Log on, free. So before we talk about anything I got going on, salute for putting that together. And yeah, like I said, I'm still plowing my way through the days, and at this rate, it'll be 2021 before I get through it. But I'm okay with that.
And I got my man Shad. So Shad is a graduate. So listen, I tried to shout out as many people as I could think of in about 5 minutes while I was posting this about today's show in clinic. Let me tell you, man, Shad, you got to connect with Shad. I'm going to tell you, so we'll talk about this more, Shad. You got to connect with my man, Branden, man. Shad was on the show. He was one of the first people on the show as well. Very successful engineer down in H-Town.
Okay.
And matter of fact, we found out we was family. He went to Southern.
Okay.
So I was like, bro, you got to check this out, this HBCUopoly. And he's got a phenomenal platform, man, called Reengineer. Well, you'll check that out. But I know he's here wanting to check this out because he loves innovation. Yes, he already put up their Jaguars, right? And I got a couple other people who I tagged on here to check this out. Let's just jump into this thing, man. You are a graduate of Xavier, of the Xavier University. Let's talk about the game. Let's first of all explain what the game is, and then I want to jump into the story of how did this come to mind several years ago about creating this game that would be able to solve so many different problems that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing is like business in essence is a answer to a problem or a solution to a problem. But this does not just solve one problem. This solves so many problems in this one game. Tell us what the game is first, and then we'll jump into how this came to be.
No, so it's an idea that I've had for a long time. So essentially what it is, it's a way for alums and supporters to simultaneously support their schools and learn principles of generational wealth in a fun and innovative way. So I know we got a JAG in here. I won't hold that against them, but I think that innovation is key. So when you talk about solving problems and filling voids, I mean, you think about it, and I had this conversation earlier today with my wife, and I thought about this, and I heard this, and it resonated so deeply with me. You with your, clinician background and being a physician, you could probably understand this more. You have a pandemic, a virus, but it's much more devastating to those with pre-existing conditions. So in my mind, and the thought process was, well, it's a both and strategy to one, eradicate the virus, but then also let's do something about these pre-existing conditions. Because if you have less pre-existing conditions, then your mortality rate, you have positive changes. So that's what I thought about the game. I thought about the person that wants to give to the HBCU and may not know how, but quite honestly, may not have it. And I totally get that. I've been there. I've been there at times where I'm like, hey, I want to do more, but I wasn't financially sound or, in all transparency, disciplined enough to be able to do what I wanted. So it stifled the growth.
So sorry to interrupt you, but because we talked about this and that, look, I didn't go to a HBCU, but the university I went to, they hit me up very soon after I graduated, like, yo, can you contribute? Can you give to the school? And early on, I didn't have it. And so I know for you, one of the things you were saying is like, sometimes people may not have it, but they do want to contribute because we have pride in our school. And we do want to give back, but sometimes we don't. This offers a cool way to give back. I'm sure you'll get to it, but.
Oh, absolutely. And so, in explaining the game, what it is I've taken a board game concept and I've applied it specifically to HBCUs, what has elements of our culture. So for example, you're taking a walk down memory lane, you're able to bring homecoming home, but while you're within the gameplay, you're able to have conversations about financial terms that seem kind of nebulous, and we just demystify the whole process. We're talking about things like IPOs and stock dividends and things like that are maybe high level, but then breaking it down to maybe something that's a little bit more granular, like life insurance, taking care of, base needs. Because you think about it as a community, as a culture, what separates how the Kennedys became the Kennedys, so to speak, is through life insurance, passing down generational wealth in a way that enables the next generation to have a start. Myself being, one of the first in my immediate family to go and graduate college, you're kind of starting off. And a good friend of mine, my roommate, my brother, my dog, we've had this conversation numerous times of where you almost have that burden where you're running that first leg of the race and you're running so hard, and oftentimes the baton may drop. So what I'm trying to do is create a fun and innovative way to generate those conversations. And more importantly, when you think about the conversation, it is completely unnatural to sit around the table with your parents. And many of those watching are kind of in that sandwich generation. We may have grandparents alive, but we may have parents that we may be facing decisions. Do parents live with us? And then we may have children that, somewhere in the space of they're either in school, matriculating to school, high school, college, and beyond, those types of things. So we're right there in the middle. It is unnatural and uncommon to have conversations and uncomfortable, frankly, to possibly have a conversation with your parents and say, Mom, Dad, if something were to happen to you, what would you want me to do? What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want me to carry on? What did you always dream for us? That's unnatural. Now, in the essence of gameplay, you pull a card. Now, you leave an inheritance. You create a legacy for your family. Pay the attorney $100 to create your living trust. Now you're starting to have what's the living trust? Now you start to have those conversations to where you're able to put things in place to set your family up for success. So, and you're doing it in a fun way. You're doing it in a way where you can honor your HBCU.
So we all know, first of all, I love this because in essence, what you're talking about is for many of our families, I didn't grow up talking about trust and real estate and, how life insurance could actually be an asset. These wealth principles, and as you mentioned, generational wealth principles, we're not talked about at my table. It just wasn't, because it was crazy. We actually played Monopoly, right? We played Monopoly. So I think you have show them what it looks like, man.
Yeah. And then along those lines, think about it like this. The game you mentioned, the goal was to bankrupt your opponent. Think about that. My family and I played Monopoly. Yeah. And in the rules, it states the game is over when you bankrupt your opponents. Wow. So you're sitting there with your mom, your dad, your brothers, and you want to bankrupt them. Think about what that does to the psyche. Think about what that does to the communal aspect of kind of coming together, pooling our resources and working together, so that you said in your intro, you love to see people win. Yeah. I love to see people win. You can't love to see people win playing a game that forces you to not allow people to win.
Right.
And it becomes colloquial. You use terms in life. So I'll show you the first edition. So we have other editions coming for other schools, other universities that we're working feverishly with. So, just show you kind of the box, the game design, but
what I love is you took that concept of Monopoly and you've combined that with the principles to build generational wealth, because it's easier for us to pull out Monopoly over Thanksgiving than it is to talk about these things that we should have been knowing for so long, that, who knows, could have possibly changed, the generational wealth, if this game had been, available, years ago, whatever the case may be. But the idea of changing the narrative in a family's, generational pattern is massive, and in a way that is that can be fun. Tell us about, because we kind of started talking about it at first, about how this actually helps the HBCUs.
Yes. Yes. So that's the key component that's missing. If you look at the alumni giving rates, you see some reports that say 14 to 17%. You have some outliers that are in the 50%. Depends on how they count the amount of donors and how they calculate their giving percentage. But if we just take sheer endowments, you take a Yale, which is in the tens of billions of dollars. You take a Harvard, you take all these other schools that, you can talk systemic advantages and how it got there. The bottom line is we're here now. What are we going to do about it? So each unit purchase, there's a donation in the amount that the school was funded. For example, for Xavier University, 1 unit purchase, 1 game purchase generates a donation in your name for $19.25.
Of the year that the school was founded.
So, there'll be 1880, 1865, depending on, what year the particular school was funded. But what we've done is say, we're going to take this into our own hands, because I know a lot of you are already giving. A lot of Xavierites give. They give religiously. But I think that pool is small because of the reasons that I cited. And we talked about the both and strategy. So now from the school's perspective is, now we're giving money, we're funding those games. And on the back end, we're saying, hey, we're going to train up a generation of people who know what to do, know how to take command of those resources and how those resources back to the schools, such that it becomes so natural, so habitual, till your giving campaigns are more focused. Your resources are focused elsewhere, because we know the reason is not just giving, but we know if you've ever been on an HBCU campus, you know how special it is, but you also know what that registration line do. Yeah. You know what it's like to be in a gym in the summer and the way that Xavier would segment. And I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about how it came into play. They would segment. They had this thing called the Pearl Plan: pay early and register late. And boy, if you were in that Pearl line, your registration experience was different, but it got me to thinking, what if everybody was in Pearl line? What if everybody had that, those resources? And then you start to get from private HBCUs to some of the state HBCUs. I mean, the co-founder of Amazon, I don't limit, her title as Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, because that's not unfair. That's unfair to her. She was a co-founder in a multi-billion-dollar organization, donated $20 million to Xavier, $30 million to Hampton, $40 million to Morehouse, give or take. But here's the kicker. She made it back the next day. The next day, 24 hours, made $20 million back. And it was a significant donation. So I did the math. I said, okay, well, if I take all of the alum that have graduated in a certain time period, that's about $666 from everybody. And then, kind of kicked it around with the think tank and everybody. And they were like, but dude, everybody doesn't have $666 to give. It bothered me to my core. It struck me. It kept me out. Like my daughter, she has a heart for the homeless, and it's just on her. Every time she she talks about it. She talks about making the change, and I couldn't allow those conversations to happen and then sit idly by and say, okay, that's cool. I had to say, what am I going to do about it?
Let's talk real quick about how this came to be. You obviously saw a need in a couple of ways. We've known each other for years. I know you had a heart to be able to really change the trajectory of families' lives with financial education, right? Mm-hmm. You've been talking about this for years. How did it go from that passion and kind of purpose to be able to educate financially to get into this game? Like, where did what's the story behind how how that passion came to be, and then how it turned into an actual game?
Yeah, so gamifying it, we'll kind of get there, kind of this idea stuck in the head. But I think by trade, you mentioned I'm an insurance agent. I mean, I've sat down with countless families and just helped them. And we're not talking about massive concepts. We're talking about simple tweaks and just understanding some kind of base level things, because, there are experts in that space, and I'm by no means profess to be any expert in that space. But one thing I do know is that foundationally, we miss an opportunity. I saw all the time the fish fries, the food giveaways, when it came to funerals and burying loved ones. Now you see things, I'm drawing a blank, not the Kickstarter, but the GoFundMes.
Yes.
GoFundMes and everything. So it all came from my own experience. 2005, my mother was terminally ill with cancer. And, we know what cancer does specifically, particularly in our community.
Yeah.
And going through that process, having to have conversation, and having to face the fact that her life may come to an end before the age of 50. Now, you look at myself, I'm 24, I'm, kind of living life and fresh out of school and trying to figure out everything new in my career. And you get thrown this major curveball, and it forces a different set of muscles. But I'm gonna tell you how good God is and how no experience is wasted. She had a friend from high school she'd known all her life. He'd come by, talk, and he just sat down one day, spent a couple hours, and like, okay, what's the plan? She shared with him her terminal illness. Well, what's the plan? Well, did you know about this? This being, a trust. Well, what are you going to do with the house? Well, there's a way that it could pass where all he has to do is go to the county, to LA County, and sign over the title. And, become on the deed, and, it's not a taxable event or anything. But what are you going to do with life insurance proceeds? And we had that conversation. And my mom, in her infinite, genius, was like, I got it. Let me act on this. Let me do some things. Let me put some other things in place. So you take probably one of the most gut-wrenching, 6-7 months of my life. And then you take on the other side I know what it's like to have to watch somebody make that phone call and have to repeat time and time again, this person is deceased. She's no longer with us, and that in itself is maddening.
Yeah.
You're not wanting that for someone else, but then helped by these tools that were in place that I learned about early. I said, okay, that was smart. And then coupled with the fact there's a holiday tradition, we would play Monopoly. We would get together and, have different people in the neighborhood play. And it was a Christmas Eve tradition, but we were forced to create our own traditions. But like I said, it was just a couple things that didn't sit well with me. I didn't like the rules. I didn't like the gameplay. But then you take that experience of, losing my mom at 24 and having to kind of carry that, pick up the pieces, go on and still mature, navigate life and everything that comes with that. It just made me think there has to be a way in order to share this information, connect several different concepts and put them together in a way that can create these conversations. Because had we not had that conversation, the path may have been different.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hearing, man, is and you've mentioned the gentleman's name before to me. What's his name?
Henry Tompkins.
So had Henry not come by, you guys may not have been, as taken care of when your mom had passed away. It had been a completely different narrative had that conversation not been had that information not been shared. We always talk about, God can turn those things that seem bad into something great. It sounds like it certainly turned into a purpose of yours to be able to dude, had that not been done, I don't know, where things would have been for you, having to really pick up the pieces beyond the emotional, trial of, losing your mother. And so, now you're put in a position where you can actually share those principles with other people who may have already gone through that stuff or try to prevent it from happening, in the future, so they can learn the information and we talked about this before the show started, information plus application. Y'all applied the information. Oftentimes we're missing the great information that we need in order to, change things in our lives. For you, it's generational wealth. And so now it's great because you get this concept of being able to take what has meant so much to you in the past, that story of your mother, take that, turn it into something tangible that can be put into people's hands that can do two things: that through the purchase of it from an alum, they support their school, because like you said, there's people who donate money, but most people may not have $600 yearly to be able to give the school to equal, what'd you say, 20 million?
20 million.
But in order for someone to purchase a game, in that same purchase, it fund their school, but it also is going to probably give them way more over time if they actually play the game and learn the principles of life insurance and saving money and, what to do with a trust. And, often actually a lot of stuff that many of us who already graduated probably don't know.
And that's the thing. And think about it this way. Think about it from a pure calamity standpoint. Imagine navigating life, dealing with the traumatic death at a young age and having to go to probate court, having to go and fight these battles and fax and email and go through all that. With that alleviated, it's not about the money. And we're not talking about a huge sum of money. We're not talking about palatial estate. We're talking about protecting things that you have, because oftentimes from a communal standpoint, that information doesn't always trickle down. And it's so pie in the sky, so aspirational. I have to have a palatial estate in order to pass that down. You don't. All you have to have is the want to and the resources. And once you have the resources, here's that application part. Apply it. And now your life is transformed in ways that you may not even know yet. That's the key. You don't know what's to come. We don't know what 20, 30 years from now will look like. But if we're prepared now, that makes that process that much easier. And for me, it's cathartic in the sense that who am I not to share that? Knowing that that's my experience, knowing that that's what I went through, knowing that it just could have been different. why would I not share that?
Mm.
And knowing, so for me, it's a legacy. It's a legacy piece in and of itself, because she encouraged me to go. She said, go away, go away to school.
Yeah.
And, were it not for my mom and juvenile, I would have never ended up at Xavier.
And juvie.
Yeah.
You had a story too, man, because I remember you mentioned something about didn't you see Comptonology or something like that?
Yes.
So I mean, you from LA, and you from like Inglewood, LA, like.
Yeah, man. Compton is a completely different city, a completely different world. But think about this. So you're absolutely right. I'm online. I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing some things like Comptonopoly. Oh, that looks cool. What is this? And it was just as stereotypical and as inaccurate as one would imagine. But here's the kicker. It was a line around the corner and they couldn't keep it in stores. And I looked on eBay and they were retrading it, reselling it for $300 and $400. A $19.99 game that was degrading to the community, gave no money back. But it's taught me something. It said there is something about the pride and where you're from that it resonates with people. But then what is this game teaching you? So I called the company. Email, ended up talking to the CEO, and the conversation went a little like this. Hey man, like the game, like what you put together. When you guys are doing your research, what part of Compton did you go to? We didn't go to Compton. Okay. So how did you, who did you consult with? How did you make sure that the game was accurate? We didn't. Okay. So some of the elements, has anybody kind of pushed back? You got a lot of gold chains and a lot of really stereotypical imagery in this thing. I mean, is that okay? Or how do you? Nah, but sales are doing great. Okay. Thank you very much. And that's what, really drove, because I said, well,
just really exploiting. It's really exploitation of the Compton community to make money. That's not going back into the community. That is amazing, particularly considering what you're doing.
Nothing, not a dime. And I mean, a line wrapped around the corner. But then think how I put this together, though. It was at the Walmart, which replaced the Compton Swap Meet, which was a conglomerate of small business owners. Feel what you want about the Swap Meet, but everybody in there was a small business owner.
Wow.
Which replaced all of the other small businesses in the area because there was a lot of duplication. So I said, man, this cuts two ways.
Yeah.
Not only is it an exploitation, not only is it a misrepresentation, it is funding what's defunded and destabilized the very community that it's representing. And it just bothered me to no end. I said, I cannot let that happen to our HBCUs.
So man, let's talk about this, because so far you got XUopoly, right, which is representing Xavier. Yep. I know they got some other people. We already got SU Jaguars on here. Shout out to them. Yep. I know a ton of people. One of the people I tagged on here, I'm sure my man Dre is gonna be able to watch this. He's a Morehouse grad. I know a bunch of Morehouse grads. Absolutely. People probably are wondering, yo, B, when is my school's game gonna be made? What's going on? Who's coming down the pipe next?
So coming down the pipe next, we got Southern coming down the pipe. So SU will be in the building, and I know my Graham fam, don't get mad at me. I'm coming for y'all. But here's the other cool thing. I forgot about this third leg of the company. What we do is we tap. I mentioned that exploitation experience. I never want that to happen. So we tap graduates, students, alum, faculty from those particular schools. So we won't release a game unless we've consulted with people from that school in order to prevent what happened with Comptonopoly, now Wattsopoly and Long Beachopoly. You guys probably all have them all. Good for you. But, make sure that you get this one. So to answer your question, coming down the pipeline, we got Morehouse, we got Spelman, we got Southern, we got Howard, we got Hampton. I mean, we got them coming just as soon as we can go through the licensing, but we want to make sure it's authentic. And before we present anything to those communities, we want to make sure that we do our due diligence and that when you open it, when you get it, not only are you excited about what you'll learn and how you'll be able to bless your family after it, but you also see yourself reflected in it. You pick up, you like, okay, that's SU. Yep, we got the hump in here. Oh,
Wow.
okay. We have Mumford. We have, different things. So we think about, going to Morehouse and AUC and the different chapels and, making sure that you're capturing those experiences in an authentic way, I think will resonate soundly with the alum. And then you get to support your school.
Right. I mean, so in essence, if you get HBCUopoly, you're going to get the things that are the traditions of the school. So if you think about the, Monopoly, and you got Park Place, and you got, St. James, Avenue and all that, you're going to have those things that are like representative of Morehouse and FAMU and the things that are that campus has on there so they can say, oh, wow, this is actually Morehouse with the pictures and everything on there.
Oh, absolutely. And selfishly, it's forced me to learn that much more about each individual campus and enforce a different level of engagement.
I bet
with people. And that's kind of been a theme in my life, is to bring people together. When I was, we started, it was in LA, and I brought frat games to the Dallas area, where we would have different, fraternities playing together in a basketball team, on a weekly series with a championship and everything. And that's what it's about to me. And just kind of on an economic, tangent or soapbox, think about it. How many T-shirts, are there out there? How many T-shirt manufacturers do you see? Tons, right?
Yeah.
I have this crazy idea. Well, if you see tons of T-shirt manufacturers, T-shirt manufacturer A, B, and C, place your orders on the same day as a conglomerate. Not only do you have margin, you can increase your margin or pass that on to your, to your customers. If you're ordering 100, you're ordering 100, you're ordering 100, and you guys, the pricing for ordering 300 has to be better than ordering 100.
Right.
Work together. Do things like that. So that's what I'm trying to force, because the other benefit is now you become in a community where we're going to shepherd you through this process and help take those concepts and not just leave them at, okay, I played the game, it's on the shelf, great, I'm an expert. No. Now we're engaging those alum and saying, okay, here, this is your alum that's a real estate expert. Here's what he or she has to say about it. Contact he or she, and this is how you get in contact. Now, concept number one is X, Y, Z, and we break it down, not to get in anyone else's lane, because I love the work that Cash is doing and Earn Your Leisure and the Trapper, Wall Street Trapper. I love what they're doing, and I follow them, and I'm learning from them. So we're not getting anyone's lanes. We're just connecting.
Yeah.
Just making sure that we're making it easy to get the information that's been hidden in plain sight.
So here's the part I love about this is I'm envisioning playing this game, and you can kind of walk me through it.
Yeah.
Your piece ends up on a place, you pull a card, it teaches you a generational wealth principle, and say it's, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but say it's a principle about real estate or something like that. Literally, you can, there's going to be a part, I don't know if it's available now or in the future, but like people will be able to scan a QR code and get connected to a real estate agent who is a grad of Xavier University. And so now not only are you getting the principles taught, but you can get connected to somebody to actually help you implement. Come on, somebody, let's go.
No, and that's a part of the plan, man. That is it. You take the QR code, you scan it takes you to the homepage, and it's by category. It's by section. There'll be videos on there that say, hey, here's a term, because again, we don't want to make this difficult. It's not something that just sits on your shelf, collects dust, looks nice, and you can kind of parade around. It's something that it's a tool. And when used correctly, you experience the transformation. And we want to make sure that, yeah, it's a cool game. You'll love it. It looks nice. You'll have fun. You'll enjoy it. But are you really learning something? Because at its core, it's so not about me. It is about that family that has gone through what I've gone through, or will go through what I've gone through, and having a means by which to say, you know what, we were taken care of. This was difficult and it was terrible, but it was made easier because we did some things foundationally that made that a lot better. We had some conversations as a family that we would not have had otherwise. We did some things together that, had we not had time to sit down and go through this exercise, we probably wouldn't arrive at this point. So, you know, and I know PlayStation 5 is out there. I know that's you know, I know this Xbox, but you know, for you parents, how many times have you found yourself telling your kids, hey, get off the computer, get off the screen?
Come on.
You know, so it's a way to stimulate their brain, and you know, my kids figured largely in this process, and you know, they're adopting some of these things, and just to see the impact it's had on them. We talk about generational wealth. It's such a blessing to see the seeds that I planted in them about what's possible, because they remember talking about it, and then for them to see something tangible, like,
I mean,
it's amazing.
I'm thinking oftentimes, man, again, you know, I don't know it all, man. You know, I got my game coming. Again, I'm not an XU grad, but I got my, you know, honorary. You know, I got my honorary diploma, got my honorary diploma from there. But so I bought one, and I have one coming. I'm interested in going through it simply because I know there's probably some generational wealth principles that I can learn myself, you know, by playing it and by getting the kids off and being like, hey man, let's, you know, let's play something that I obviously want them, you know, to learn as well. Listen, if you're watching this, I'm telling you, and if you're an HBCU grad, even if you are not an HBCU grad, I know you know somebody who is an HBCU grad. I want you to tag them right now, because this is really happening. I mean, you've made contact with, you know, with Morehouse, Howard, all these people. I mean, like, you're literally talking to their, you know, to their administration, their people to get the trademarks. Like, this thing is actually happening. You launched. Tell us about the launch, because you've already launched XUopoly, and you know, tell us about what's happened in just a short period of time since you launched. What, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Tell us about that.
So 11/24, and you know, when you think about 11/24, you know, I try to be intentional with everything. So, you know, one person, one purpose. So one guy, one purpose. 24 hours in a day, 11/24, and that was the address of the home of my street growing up.
Wow.
So it all made sense. So I launched 11/24, and I literally was almost in tears, if I'm being 100% transparent, because you take this idea that's stuck in your head that, you know, through fear, through lack of clarity, that, you know, everything that, you know, men we go through, people we go through, and then you see it go out, and then you see a response, an overwhelming response. I mean, literally my email with the order confirmations was going crazy. And I literally sat, and I tried to record a thank you video maybe 4 or 5 times. And it took that many takes, that many times to just get it out. And you watching this and you know me, you know I'm probably the least emotional person. Like, man, this dude is different. Something wrong with him. But in all seriousness, it got to me, not for, you know, I didn't think it would be successful. It wasn't that. It was, man, this is something personal. This is something here, and it's something that can help people, and people actually responded to it in an overwhelming fashion. It just was humbling, man.
Man, really. I'm gonna put up here the website. Here's what I need everybody to do. If you're watching this right now, I'm putting the website up here right now. It is 1124creative.com. Let me put this banner up here real quick. Let me tell you something. Go there right now and go check out this website. Again, XUopoly is on there right now, but soon, what's the very next one that's coming, Branden?
XUopoly Southern, we're coming for you. So we're gonna be releasing that here soon, very soon, and we'll start to do that. Southern, Morehouse, and J State will be next on the line. So Dion, holla at me.
Yeah, I know, right? So here's the cool part about it. Once you buy the game, you're going to be put in a Facebook community of HBCU alums. Everybody's going to be there. Imagine like a big old HBC reunion, and people in there also having a vested interest of how to play the game, be teaching people principles of the game in that Facebook group. You'll be able to interact with other HBCU alums. You'll be able to interact with other alumni from your school, and also probably be able to interact with some of the people who are, I guess you can kind of say, consultants that, you know, when you play the game that you have an opportunity to be connected with. So it's also creating community, people having aha moments in there, people be able to post like pictures of, you know, them playing with their family and so forth. So you'll be thrown into a community of HBCU alums, which I think is cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what it's about. It's about community. There are tons of, you know, groups out there that, you know, really engage the community. And Brad, I'll kind of let you in a little secret. And you know, my Grand fam, my Jags, y'all can appreciate this. Bayou Classic Southern versus Grambling, that whole week, I saw the funniest memes I've ever seen in my life. I just want to put that out there. That's a rivalry. So you know, you can talk Ohio State and Michigan all day. We can have that. That Grambling Southern rivalry, hilarious, and it was good. Now I knew my place as a Xavierite with no football team. I'm just on the side because I'm not going to jump in, but. You know, all that to say, it is about community. It is a different experience. And, you know, you say things are coming involved. There's just an awareness. But what I'm really, really intentional doing is taking that from awareness to action. And again, this is no slight to my apparel manufacturer. There's a lot of fly, amazing pieces of apparel and great company and great business owners. But I always ask myself the question, how can we take that further?
Yeah,
once you know it, because that's how I even found out about HBCUs. Was on my street a friend of mine, Curtis, who was tragically killed in a car accident. He went to Grambling, played football, and all I knew was I only knew there was only one. I only knew there was Grambling. That's all I knew.
Wow.
Because of that school. But I knew that I was like, oh, it was something different. He would come back home in the summer and say, hey man, you need to go. This is the experience and what have you. And that just left an impression. So if it even can be somewhat of a recruiting tool to have in your home, just to spark conversations, that's all I really want to do. Let's have the conversation and let your creativity, you know, kind of do the work, and let this path of curiosity take over. But then let's make it a little bit easier to find out what that is.
Man, I'm inspired because I know you've been talking about this for a while. I can remember when this kind of first, you were kind of, man, I'm thinking about doing a game. I'm kind of thinking about doing this. I wanted to do a couple things on here. I wanted people to know about this. I think it's a great concept. I think it's going to flourish. I think as more schools just continue to come on board, they're going to be blessed by it. I think word's going to get around because, like you said, people have this strong connection to their history, where they're from, where they went to school from. This is a great concept. But I also wanted to inspire people, for those people who are hesitating on taking action on something that they want to do or kind of thinking about. And the reason I titled this show From Concept to Creation is because that's exactly what you did, man. You took something that was in your head and turned it tangible. This is called creation. This is creation. Speak real quick, man, just to that idea of going from concept to creation. What was the toughest part? Was it worth it? And then somebody who's just, you know, out here, you know, like hesitating. They, you know, me and my friend Oliver talk about they pump faking. You know, they're the one that's pump faking in the gym, the one that you don't even go for the pump fake no more, because they pump faking on taking action of turning something in their mind into creation. Just speak to that process, man.
I mean, that process it's wrapped up in a number of other processes. So I probably say about a year and a half ago, I started this journey. You know, you start with the questions, and they always say the two more profound days of a man's life: the day he's born the day he finds out why. So you start on that journey. You start to ask yourself, is this it? If life were to end as I know it, have I done what I need to do? And, it's often, and you've often said this, that it takes a level of pain or, and it takes something to spark you to move. And within that pain, there's some decisions that have to be made. There's some big boy, big girl decisions that have to be made. And those decisions kind of go like this. For what? Why? Who am I? What am I going to do? And the process is having all the ideas and just making every excuse in the book on why I can't get done. I don't have time. Why me? I don't have the money, the resources, or, well, if it doesn't work, and all the things that people probably experience on a daily basis. So, and then I would say the other part of that is getting coaching. I mean, we talked last time before you had the banner on the bottom. I mean, this is pre-banner days. So, we talked last time on how important it is really to get coaching or to be transparent and authentic enough to say, hey, listen, I don't have this. I don't know this. I don't know something. I need help. I see how you're doing this. And then it just resonated with me, like the best athletes in the world have coaches. The top people in their profession have people along their path that will say, hey, here are things that you have to do. So I say the process from a strategic kind of tactical standpoint is make a decision. Make a decision. Like this has to stop, or I'm not going to continue this way. Make the decision, but then be open and sensitive to who's emulating some of the things that you want to do. Get the coaching. But from a creative process, it was just go, just do it. Put it out, write it down, use your circle of friends and people in your circle. And that's another thing. If you have a circle of friends that you can't bounce things off of, that won't give you feedback, it's maybe time to change that circle. Because, what they say, your network determines your net worth. So along those lines, and it's not even, think of it yourself as your own company. You have to have a board of directors. This is your board of governors, your board. Like, who's my CFO? Who's my chief technology officers? Who's my CMO? Who is my go-to spiritual person, and what have you? And in that process, unpacking all that and really connecting back to the story. So I would say the number one thing really is everything you need, you already have. Everything will be, you've already done and seen. You just have to tap into it. There's a story in everything that you've done or do. You became a physician for a reason. You shared a little bit of your story of what that looks like and why, what drove you to that, and your brother, and how important that was to you. Yeah. So you've already done it. Family tradition for us was playing a board game. What did I learn in a board game? Principles and things that helped. Okay, here's a tragic experience. What did I learn from that? And you just think about that in your life, and then it just kind of all came, it became a no-brainer to me. It just all came. But I'd say just from a process of, let's say you may tell yourself you lack creativity. No, you don't. The way that you formulate that spreadsheet that looks no one else's, that's creativity. The way that you approach your patients and the dialogue and the analogies that you use, that's creativity. The way that you whether you're saying, hey, listen, I have this hair product, this soap, whatever that is, the way that you do what you do is creativity. No thumbprints that are alike, no DNA strands are alike, no people that are alike. You just got to tap into it. Do it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. And if you fail, it's only lessons. No losses, only lessons.
Bro, I remember when you sent me a text of the picture of the box.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, hold up. This is like real. What did that feel like, man, to finally, get the first model of the thing that you had thought about that was literally did not exist. Listen to what I'm telling everybody watching this, man. This thing did not exist. What did that feel like to go from that to getting the first concept, box in front of you, man. What was that like?
Man, it was like having a kid, man. It's like, it's no disrespect to my other kids. It was like when I saw my daughter, I was like, that's a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
Like that was the first thing I said. It's like a kid. It's like in my head, it was there. And it was not it, and it was conversations, and it was okay, I wonder what this is, and then you create it. It would probably similar to what I would feel like a music artist. Now, when Erykah Badu was like, keep in mind, I'm an artist, I'm sensitive. I was like, I feel that, Erykah. Like, I understand. Like,
you don't want people talking about your baby. Like, no.
Man, bless his heart, look just like his daddy. You know what that means. Y'all know what that means. In Texas, you can say anything as long as you say bless his heart.
As long as you say bless your heart, man.
Bless your heart.
I say bless your heart.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to ask you this final question, man. And it's kind of, I won't say it's off the wall, but it's certainly, nothing, we plan for. What's the vision, man? Where you see this thing in the future? And I don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to, I had to answer this question on a podcast the other day, and I was thinking I was afraid to answer the real answer because sometimes I dream so big that I feel like people don't get it because that word realistic will come in. Yeah. I don't want you to give me the realistic version. I want you to give me the vision of where you see this in the future.
So what I envision and the way when I created this, I wanted to be a couple of things for our beloved HBCUs to not have to be on the bottom rung and the bottom tier of any resources. Have an alumni base so engaged, so enthused, so trained, so properly trained that giving is habitual, but they're giving so much at a rate that it's no longer a concern because they have the margin taking the lessons to give. I think about my own community. And then this is not specific to HBCUs because you're talking about a small pool. But I think about my own community, where I grew up. Man, were it not for, it's like a family, man. Everybody is second generational, Southern, Great Migration, second and third generation. But had it not been for the people in the immediate community that brought meals and everything, and literally helped us through and how we're still kind of all connected together, I don't know where I would be. So my vision, the game is a tool to say, okay, it's not about the money. It's not about tapping into other cultures' means of success. It's so not about that. It's about taking what system we're operating in, funding our own freedom, and vision-wise, man, I just see a generation of young entrepreneur, business leaders, dynamic individuals that choose HBCUs as their first choice, but also are so engaged and so community and other-centered to where we literally are able to eradicate most systemic problems, most financial gaps, all those things that have become symptoms of larger problems in a way that has never been seen before. I wanted to deposit the idea in that person, that young kid that's playing and saying, okay, I know what I want to do. And when I have the resources, I know how I'm going to use them. Because not everybody can, it's not everybody's lane is to, be Xavier's. I'll use Xavier as an example because that's what I know best. But not everybody's going to be in the medical profession.
Right.
It is a calling, and that is a labor of love, and it's nothing but respect. There are things, there are practices, there are synergies that we can use to leverage our collective expertise just to make not only the world a better place, but just our communities just that much more impactful. You talk about churches being well funded. You talk about sport. You talk about all the impact a lack of resources has eradicating that. because now we are armed with the tools to make decisions. Now, whatever decision you make, that's on you.
Right.
At least you have the tools.
Yeah.
In order to do that. So aspirationally, I just want to serve. I want to go as far as it can go.
I love it, man. Listen, folks, you watching this right now, man. I'm telling you, go to 1124creative.com. You can see the website on here that's popped up. It's also on the post that is connected to this live stream. If you are watching this now, shout out your HBCU. If this is a replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay and shout out your HBCU.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout that thing out, because he's coming for your school if he's not already going to be launching it, like he said, here pretty soon. But go to 1124creative.com. You'll see the first concept. First of all, look, if you're a Xavier grad, if you ain't got one already, I'm gonna come after you. Like if you hearing about this right now and you ain't got this done, like don't let me start calling you out on this right now if I know you. Like just go ahead and get your game, go ahead and get a couple of them so you can go and start blessing some other folks.
Right.
And like you said, it can potentially use it as a recruiting tool. Yeah. So Branden, thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for the information, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. And I'll shout this to the mountaintops. It takes a special individual to walk in purpose and to do so genuinely and just say, I have a heart to serve, and do it with the expectation that nothing is in return. So, I know people like, man, you're always sharing this stuff, and I'm gonna keep doing it because, it's we as men need to be comfortable with having dialogue and conversation, saying, hey, I needed help. This man helped me and I'm okay with it. We're similar in age. So what? It does, I like some of the ways that he's walking. I like some of the things that he's doing. Help me. And we need to get comfortable with that. And had you not followed your purpose and engaged, then I don't know that this would happen, especially the way that it is. So thank you. And keep doing what you're doing, because the ultimate goal is, each one teach one, but we're all after the same thing. We're just going about it different ways.
No doubt. No doubt. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. And yeah, man, no, I appreciate it. Look, you guys, let's make it happen, man. HBCUopoly 1124 Creative. It's my man, Branden Weber. We're going to be back next week. Between now and then, you got plenty of time to check out my man's website. Yes, Reggie Tenner, that's right. Give my man the fist bump. You know what I'm saying? That's right. My man, Reggie Tenner. Yeah. So, guys, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure again. Before I sign off, again, make sure you tune in, elitesummit.com. If you have not registered, again, it's just a phenomenal resource. We're talking about resources. It's a phenomenal resource and tools to just be able to help you go from excellent to elite as a man in every aspect of what you're trying to do in life. So we'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you.